Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for coming to my session. I'm going to talk about prototyping tool for learning experience. And my name is Matilde Dan. I work as a UX designer at Financial Force. I am based in Granada, and currently I work developing financial accounting features. Financial Force is the #1 ERP cloud in the Salesforce platform. And we are more than 700 employees across 9 offices around the world, and we develop products that cover areas like financial management, product service, automation, and more. Our headquarters are in San Francisco, and we have more like around 1,000 customers. To begin with, I am going to talk about what is a prototype, because many of you are developers, I think, and how many of you are UX designers? Another one. I'm surprised. So I'm going to explain a bit what is a prototype and what is the context in which the prototypes make sense. And this context is the product design process. This process goes through these stages, and let's see them more. The strategy. In this first stage, the company defines why they want to achieve and why from a market point of view. They investigate the gaps in the market or the movement of competitors to define what we are going to do next, and just from a strategy point of view. Then, when the company knows what we are going to do next, as the UX designer, in collaboration with the product managers, begin the research to know our users and figure out how to achieve the company's goal. To do this research, we make a lot of different techniques like observations, surveys, interviews, everything. This is a divergent stage in which the objective is to gather information. So the more information we gather, the more important information we can gather, the better for the next stages. Once we have finished the research, it's time to define and iterate the product. Define means, I've told that in the previous stage we were in a divergent stage. Now it's time to summarize all the information and all the data we have gathered, and to take conclusions and begin to design based on that conclusions. The conclusions we take, for example, is we create the user personas. User personas are archetypes of the users we are going to focus on, the product we are going to develop. Another thing that we get from the research is the user journeys, the future requirements also, and based on that, we begin to design the product with the mock-ups, user flows, and after that, the prototype. And let's see what is a prototype. Prototypes help us to transform ideas into reality and also to share those ideas with people. Nowadays, an infinite amount of products like cars, buildings, planes, software application, everything is developed after a prototype. Not everything. There's sometimes you can find in the market product like this that, for sure, they haven't been based on a prototype or testing, and maybe somebody buys them. The main goal of the prototype is to put it in front of a customer to test it and detect the problems on the design. Text will help us to detect those problems, and also will help us the user feedback directly will tell us how to fix those problems in the moment of the testing. So when we put the prototype in front of the customer, we test it and iterate on the prototype to refine it until we have a product that we can put in production that delivers some value to the customer. So when we have finished this testing and iteration loops, usually you don't do it at the first try. Your first prototype is not the one that is going to put in production, but once you have finished a couple of them and iterate a couple of times, the product is put in production and developers works. And now that we have understood a bit of what is a prototype and what it is useful for, I'm going to talk to you about two tools that I really like to make prototypes. There are a lot of different tools like Sketch or Illustrator, Photoshop, or things like this. They are useful, but with that you can get an image file, which after all is just a bunch of pixels that put in the correct order represent a component or something that when you see you think is that component, but it doesn't have any more information, so you send that to developers and they have to figure out what component is that. They are a bit limited, and these two tools I'm going to explain today, I like them more because you will see. And also because it's so much faster to make a prototype with this. Okay, this first one, Avoni Creator, is an online tool, prototyping tool of Learning Design System, and it can be used to create Lightning pages, Lightning components, interactive flows, Lightning experience apps, community portal, and standalone apps. It's a web page you can access. The difficultometer. It's Avoni Creator is easy as pie. You may need some knowledge about layout, grids, some HTML, very easy, but if you don't know, you can just learn on the go. Let's create an example of a new Lightning experience app to explore a bit of the interface and how it works. The interface is very similar to the app builder. On the top of the screen, you have, no se ve, no? Well. There are some tabs to change between the different modes, and on the left side, you can find the Elements toolbar and navigator to change between the pages of the project, and on the right side, the Properties pane. Let's create a header as an example, and this is the workflow. You look for the element in the Element toolbar, drag it to the canvas and adjust properties in the Properties pane that change accordingly to the element that you have selected in the canvas. And repeating this process, you have done a prototype. Very, very easy. But you are limited to the elements and the features that Avoni Creator offers. So it's good, but the one is better. The next. So this is the way to create the prototype here. And let's see a more complex example to see the full workflow. How will it be? First of all, we need to lay out the page, select the parents elements, adjust properties if necessary, and select the children content. In this case, we have a two-column layout in the content below the chart, so we have had to create a grid. Have you seen before that adjust the size of the columns is very easy with the slider and just have to drag and drop the content inside the place you want to put it. In this case, the data table is contained inside of a div because after we want to add some padding to make it to fit it better inside the space. And here is adding the padding, but you cannot see it. And now changing the labels of the header is very easy also. Everything is done from the Properties pane. And you can see in real time the changes you are doing. And keep on dragging elements and drop. Do you see something? No, ¿verdad? No. Let's move to the next video, because basically is that adding elements from the Elements toolbar to the place you want to place it. First, you have to add the parent element, adjust properties if necessary, drag the children element and adjust properties, and repeat until you finish your prototype. This is the workflow to compose the page with the elements. Next, you can have a preview of your prototype at any time by clicking on the Preview tab at the top of the screen. In this preview, you can see how all the components are working, and they have already the SLDS behavior. You don't have to first draw them, as you will do in Sketch, and then try to animate them using another Axor or Flint or another software. Everything has already the SLDS behavior, the style, everything is done, just dragging and drop. It's good. And also there is a very useful mode when working collaboratively, is the conversation mode. It's the next step of the preview tab. And selecting a component, you can left a comment against it, and your collaborators will see the notification when logging in the project, and you can have a conversation about a component specific. Also, you can create new pages to link to your prototype from the Pages screen tab. You can choose a preset with preset layouts also, and everything is almost done. You just have to change, because account pages and everything is standard, maybe you don't need to change anything, so it's very useful. And once you have created your new page, you can link to the prototype, selecting the link or button that you want to take you to that new page. And from the properties pane, there's a lightning icon in which you can select a new page, external URL, or a modal. And now it's linked. Also, the new page you created will appear in the navigator of the project. Share. Once you have finished your prototype, we said that the main goal of the prototype is to put it in front of the customer. So using the share button, you can copy. You can enable the public link and copying this link and sending wherever. It can be opened from anywhere. And you can use a screen sharing and recording software to do your remote testing and gather your feedback, which is the important part. And also, once you have finished and tested your prototype, you want to send to the developers to work on it. Agony Creators offers, that gives you the option to copy the HTML code generated by the prototype, generated by this app. This is not exactly the same code than the SLDS, but better than just pixels, it's something. And now the one I prefer. I prefer this tool because this tool is, I will show you, is based on the learning design system, which is the source of truth, or it should be. The Design System Starter Kit is a prototyping environment that uses the learning design system. I'm going to make a quick review. If some of you don't know what is the learning design system, it's the style guide that Salesforce uses for everything. The layouts, blueprints, components, everything is here. The code also, the markups of the components, everything is here. And this tool uses this to do the prototypes of everything. It also allows to add third-party libraries, and you can also share the prototype to test it. You can download it from here, then I will share the resources. The difficultometer is not very complex. It depends on the complexity of the prototype you want to develop. If you want to do something very simple, it is just copy and paste. If you want to do something more, maybe you need to introduce some JavaScript. Not very difficult. This is for designers. The pre-requirements. You need to have a GitHub account and Heroku account. Both are for free. And once you have your pre-requirements, you download the starter kit from the Git repository. You need to install the npm dependencies and run it locally. Once you have run it locally, this page will appear. You have already installed your development server in your local machine, and this page loads automatically with some useful information and trial headers and tutorials that I recommend you to do. And also, when installing, this is the folder structure that you will have in the machine. In the views folder, this is the most important, I think, because all the pages of your prototype, you will have to store them in that folder to see them. Also, in this folder has the templates that will be installed with when installing the starter kit. I'm going to open the blank template, and it's very, very simple. When rendering it in the browser, you can see or imagine that because you don't see nothing. This is the search for global navigator, the search bar. Yes, it's the search for header, which comes with the template. I'm going to show you a video of what will be the workflow to build a prototype using this tool. Okay, you have to go to the line in design system, look for the element you want to use. In this case, a header. We're going to make the same prototype that done with the other tool, and copy and paste in the template. And here is the header with the styles of the line in design system, the fonts, everything. We don't need to worry about nothing. To replicate the other we made with the other tool. First is the same. First lay out the page and add the content, parents and then children. In this case, we have three areas, the one of the top with the charts and two below them. So we are going to create the card with the grid for the three charts and the grid for the content below with the two columns, and we'll put inside the elements. To create the grid, line in design system, look for the grid. In this case, this one, copy the markup and paste it. Very easy. And here are the card with the grid. Now for the content below, we need a grid with the different widths. So we copy the 2 of 3 and 1 of 3 grid and paste it in this place, and now we have the layout already done. And one thing that we need to do is that in line in design system we don't have charts. We don't have any charts. So we cannot add them directly from the line in design system, but the starter kit allows to add third-party libraries. So in this case, I'm going to use charts.js. So I download the library, put the files, the charts files and the JS file that will load and initiate the charts in the script folder, copy the three charts inside the column of the grids that we have already done and the script that will load them. And here they are. Very easy. To go faster, following the same process, copying and pasting, we put the elements we want inside of the layout we have created, and we can add more content, copying and pasting. For the data table, to customize the data table, let's do something different to see another capability of this tool. Just customize the data table to change the level of the headers, and I'm going to remove two columns that I don't want to have because in the other prototype they weren't there. And also I'm going to left only one row because the entire table has 10 rows, and if I copy and paste the same piece of code, I will have there a very ugly file. So I'm going to load the data from a JSON file. I have to create the JSON file inside in the view folder and call it with the same name than the project I am doing. This name has to be the same of the page we are working on, and create the data table and call it from the file that we are working from the beginning. And here is the table. And now we have finished our prototype, which is not a bunch of pixels, and everything is working with the CLDS behavior, except the charts because are from an external library. All the rest have the properties, row hover, everything that we can add from all the classes that we can add from the SLDS. But this is ready to test, but it is already in my local machine. So remember that I told you that you will need a prerequisites, the GitHub account and the Heroku account, because we will need to commit the project to GitHub and deploy to Heroku to get the link that we can share and send to customer or users to begin the test. And that's all. These are the link of the resources I've used. If you need something, I will share the presentation. And Thank you very much. Any questions?